asked them to stop shielding American outlaws. Northern Texas and Kansas were deemed to be the wildest areas of America, and as one writer put it, every small town had hundreds of saloons populated by depraved people who used whiskey. It was also very difficult to find anyone who was prepared to wear a badge and enforce the law. A perfect example of this is in the memoirs of a man called Bob Wright, one of the founders of Dodge City. He wrote that when Dodge City sprang up, the nearest law was over 90 miles to the northwest in Hays City. People in Dodge had to settle any disputes themselves, one way or another, with handgun, shotgun, or rifle. The outlaws, who were the scourge of the West for a number of years, were not, as some dime novelist put it, the Robin Hoods of the West. Far from it. The majority were just a collection of vicious, violent, devious lowlife who showed a complete disregard for anyone or anything. They spent their ill-gotten gains on women, gambling, and whiskey, and displayed little or no respect for civilized behavior, the law, or compassion for their fellow man. The following stories are just a few of the outlaws that terrorized the West in its formative years. Chapter 1. William Clark Quantrill. During the American Civil War, a number of outlaws operated under the guise of guerrillas, fighting on the side of the Union or the Confederacy. Amongst the worst of these was a band led by William Clark Quantrill, which came to be known as Quantrill's Raiders. They consisted of supporters of the Confederacy and operated by harassing the Union Army and attacking their supply lines. Initially, senior Confederate officers encouraged their raids on the enemy, but as time went on, the raiders became more and more barbaric, feeling they had the freedom to do whatever they wanted to, looting, raping, and killing without reason, all under the flag of the Confederacy. William Quantrill was born in Canal, Dover, Ohio, on 31 July 1837, the oldest of 12 children. His childhood was marred by an abusive father who died, leaving the family destitute and with large debts. Quantrill became a school teacher at the age of 16 in order to help the family survive. After a year of teaching, he left to take a job in a lumber yard in order to earn more money. It was whilst working in the lumber yard that he had his first encounter with the law, when he killed a man in a fight. He pleaded self-defense, and as there were no witnesses and the man was a complete stranger to the area, he was released without charge. The law, however, still unsure about the incident, advised him to leave the area and move on. Quantrill moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and took up the post of a schoolteacher. This job only lasted a year, and he moved back to Canal, Dover to live with his family. In 1857, there was a move by many people from Ohio to relocate to Kansas in search of cheap land. Two local men, Henry Torrey and Harmon Beeson, were persuaded by Quantrill's mother to take her son William along with them. The two men agreed to pay for a parcel of land for the Quantrills in return for several months' work from William. Torrey, Beeson, and Quantrill settled in Merdocine, Kansas, and purchased some land for the three of them. The promise given by William Quantrill to work for some land just faded away after a couple of months, and he spent most of his time just wandering about the land with the rifle. Because of this, Torrey and Beeson laid claim to the land they had purchased for Quantrill and, in a court case, were awarded compensation, of which they only received a small part. In the meantime, Quantrill had taken up with some of his hometown friends who had started a settlement on Tuscarora Lake near Erieville, New York. This arrangement lasted for only a couple of months as Quantrill was caught stealing from some of the other settlers' cabins and he was thrown out of the settlement. In January 1858, Quantrill signed on as a teamster with the U.S. Army expedition that was heading to Salt Lake City, Utah. Nothing more is known of him until 1 year later, when he appeared in Lawrence, Kansas, teaching school. The school closed the following year, leaving Quantrill unemployed.